Welcome to the Guide to Movies podcast with Joe and Sean. I am Joe. He is Sean, and it has been quite a long time, buddy. How are you?
I've got so much pent up energy, Joe. I'm ready to go. I had that amazing 2-week vacation. Let's do this thing.
I'm sure it wasn't much of a vacation.
No, it was not.
Well, I'm so happy that we're back. We have episode 68 in the pipeline tonight, and some good news to get. Well, that's maybe not the right way to say it, but we have a good amount of news to get to, and really running the gamut today of the types of stuff that we're going to talk about. Of course, we're going to get to Dune, and we are going to probably disagree about a trailer that we just talked a little bit about offline, but hey, that's why people tune in. Anything else going on your end? Any big steps last week in life?
It is literally today, 1 month away from me getting married. So that's something to keep on the old police blotter of life, if you will.
Who you get married to? No, I'm kidding.
I don't know. I'll meet you there. But
well, that's exciting.
Good.
1 month. Wow.
I know. This is finally where it's amazing because I imagined myself getting more and more anxious as it got closer. But now it's just like, okay, let's go. We got this now.
I was going to say, like, knowing you and just how some things hit you when it's that close or whatnot, I'm really pleasantly surprised at how well you're handling it. I guess it's the excitement kicking in because, of course, it is an exciting time.
It is exciting, and it is just like it's getting more and more real. And as I guess it gets more and more real, it gets less and less anxiety-inducing because it's just like, okay, it's actually occurring. It is here. It is a real thing. So no reason to be anxious about it.
Any of my friends that have gotten married, I've always said, like, day of especially, you can't do anything about it. So just enjoy it. It is what it is. Have fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are not going to touch on DC fandom stuff because that seems like forever ago, but that was a very boring DC fandom. We got
hate to hear that.
First, what's that?
Hate to hear it.
No, well, they kind of shied away from everything that people wanted to hear. So, but we will talk about some DC stuff in a little bit because we definitely have some casting news that we want to get to. But before we dive into the news of the week, let's dive into the exciting world of movie trailers.
Let's do it. Uncharted, baby.
As you can tell, I am making sure that I am talking very slowly and keeping this going because I'm having trouble pulling it up. All right, here we go. Perhaps. All right, there we go. Ready, set. Tom Holland, don't spoil this movie. Go.
There are places out there you can't find on any map. They're not gone. They're just lost.
Hey, kid. A little young for a bartender, aren't you?
A little old for prom, aren't you?
Leaves are falling all around. Everything in here. Why the map?
This is the path Ferdinand Magellan took to sail around the world.
You know your history.
It's the biggest treasure that's never been found.
5 billion, easy. I think you're here because you're your brother.
Well, you know my brother Sam?
If you find that gold, you find him too.
Who the hell is this? I'm a friend of Sully's. Sully doesn't have any friends. I should know him one of them.
You are a collector.
Well, I dabble.
I don't dabble. My family has been looking for this potion for a very long time. So much blood.
I'm pretty sure he just threatened to kill me.
Don't touch your ear like that. You look like an idiot.
You have no idea who you partnered with.
I've been dreaming about this stuff since I was a kid. My brother Sam left one final clue. Oh my God!
Shouldn't you come out to play with the big boys, Ian, because you're about to get a proper Scottish welcome.
What? Oh crap!
Exclusively in movie theaters.
I love that exclusively in movie theaters is a thing we have to say now, but
But it was said in this like robot assertive voice. Like usually it's said like in this like only in theaters, but this was like exclusively in like a
maybe.
sarcastic robot.
Sean, what is your problem with the joy of that movie? How it is a male Tomb Raider. It's refreshing to see the other way around this time, where it's like
just have the male parts in the middle there, in the lead there. It really was. There was the one scene where it is in the weirdest dialogue of all time. Holland and Wahlberg trying to out macho each other, talking about historic treasures. Where it was just like it's the best treasure that's ever been found. And it's just like both of them are kind of like just like you certainly know your history. And I was like, just kiss. And I just wondered at that point, like it seemed like it was this very weird, like over macho national treasure kind of move that, like I will say, got a little bit more tolerable as the trailer went on. Him going over the baggages as they're going out the airport. I've never played this video game. I'm certain that's a video game level.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like right off the bat, I was just like, okay, so they're doing that as well. They're throwing in the actual legit gameplay. I mean, I don't know. It's coming out in February, which is never a great sign. But
it's not January.
It's not January. It is a little better than January. We have to remember that. A little better than January. I mean, at that point, I'm going to be so friggin' bored by it. I'll definitely be seeing it while I'm like making Oscar picks. So, like, I'll be interested, but it's going to be a little bit tough.
Listen, I think that when it comes to the schedule of when movies are coming out, that we have to take some time to let it reset itself, because I think COVID really kind of threw it in the air, right? So, with the whole January thing is like the graveyard for movies and Doomsday, all that. I don't know that we're there anymore because theaters are just trying to get back and trying to get these projects out. Uncharted is one that has been oh my gosh, how long have they been making this movie? And it kept getting delayed like 17,000 times. So I feel like that's probably why they're just like, all right, we're ready to go. We need a good hit. We need to get some money. We've been wasting money on production here forever. Let's get going. So, and the other piece of this is capitalizing on Tom Holland and Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big piece too that we don't always talk about, but we have in the past with certain things. So.
And these are two people at the lead that, they're charismatic and we love them. I mean, you got Wahlberg, you got Holland. I mean, Holland especially is just at this point uncorruptible. And so you have those two just solving for treasure. I mean, people are going to just draw comparisons to, National Treasure, even though it's not that because this is based on a video game, but still it's something that of course, I would love to see these two go find buried treasure and have people, have little obstacles along the way. And I think it's going to do pretty solid at the box office because of that, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a solid video game and adaptation. It sounds like they went to some great pains aside from, I think, Tom Holland's age to really make sure that that they were staying true to what people expect from it. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it just looks like fun, right? I don't need every movie to be an Oscar contender.
Don't worry about the age thing. They called him young. It's fine. If you call him young, then it's cool. Don't worry about the age thing. It's good.
Ben Platt would like a word.
That would have been great if they were just you're awfully young looking to be a teenager, when he's in the office.
Oh my God. I still can't believe that happened. What have we lived through? First the pandemic, then that. So anyway, we are getting to that time where we're about to get some solid films coming out, and one of them came out this past week. That would be Dune. I think we both are in agreement with our ratings, if I remember correctly.
We are.
I saw this and kind of tried to keep it I didn't talk to you about it. I loved it. I thought every inch of that movie was delivering on the epic that we were promised. I thought the acting was phenomenal. I'm going to ask you in a second who your standout is. but I have a standout. And one of the things I really loved was this definitely is a cinematic adventure in that you need to see it in the theater. The sound, I think the graphics, the visuals, the visuals were flawless.
Oh my God,
and
they were good.
It's incredible. I mean, it's probably one of the best sci-fi films in recent memory, if not the best. But it was well worth the wait. I really enjoyed everything from top to bottom. Didn't think there was a flawed performance. I get where people are coming from, that it's part one and it's a lot of exposition and blah, 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 blah. But I was all about it.
I mean, yeah, just to my one issue, which was hardly an issue because I really did still love this, but it's my issue with all Denis Villeneuve films is that they are masterworks of visual artistry. They're some of the greatest things you'll just ever see, not on film, just they're the greatest things you'll ever see. And also they're just always a bit too long, where that guy could just cut some shears to every film. I don't know what you'd cut out of Dune. I honestly don't. I think it was really great. So, I'm giving the opposite of constructive criticism at the moment. But to really sort of say, this is going to be really, really over the top praise right now. But this is sort of this kind of movie is why you make movies. And what I mean by that is that every single inch of this is beautiful. Every single inch works. If you want to say let's talk about how the first half is exposition. We have a story. There is still a solid story here. There is still a solid story with human conflict among characters. And it is hidden amongst these visuals that are just absolutely gorgeous, effects that just completely run true. We can talk about practical effects if we want to, and how Nolan flips cars over and stuff like that. He's got nothing on Villeneuve, who just really makes new different types of helicopters that are grasshopper helicopters, and just makes them and makes something new there. And by the way, Nolan did give a lot of praise to Dune, which I thought was a very cool move, because those two are game recognized game all over the place. But it is great to see someone like Denis, who is just full blown artist, but able to reach the masses, and that's what he's able to do with Dune. Is this is artistry. I mean, you see the shot of the soldiers parachuting down onto a planet whose name I can't remember, but it was just through the sunlight and everything was just unbelievable.
It was incredible.
There's one moment where and it's in one of the moments where the sunshine is out there, where of course I had to pee because it was 2.5 hours long. And when I come back, I can see all of my friends' faces because it is so freaking bright throughout the whole movie that you can see everything that's in the theater. And that's not something you really get on these darkened sci-fi movies. Oh, I could go forever on this movie.
I'm trying to think what movie it was I saw recently that did that, not to get off track, but it would be a dark scene and then it would hit sunlight right away. And I was killing me like a vampire.
I weirdly remember it happened in Revenge of the Sith, where it would be the dark space, and then all of a sudden they're on the interior white ship, and literally I was just retinas.
I think it was Eternals the other night, but it may have been Jockey yesterday. Now that I think about it,
Jockey goes bright sometimes. I thought Jockey was just Clifton Collins covered in mud the whole time.
It's got some moments, not many exciting moments, but that's a whole nother podcast.
We can go chat about that. Yeah, I remember that from Sundance.
You saw it at Sundance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can we take a quick sidebar? What did you think of it?
I think Clifton Collins Jr. is a great actor. Let's leave it there.
Thank you. I agree with you. Okay, thank you. But yeah, so back to Dune. Who would be your standout in this movie? Maybe I don't want to say standout, but I was surprised by a performance and by liking this performance so much.
Okay, so this is different for me because I was not surprised that I liked this performance this much. I knew this was going to probably be my favorite performance. And saying that, I think you know exactly who I'm going to be picking. Or it's still a surprise that I'm picking this. I thought Jason Momoa was spectacular. He was
so damn good.
He comes in there with everybody else is, and this is fine because this is what their characters demand. Everyone else is so damn serious the whole time, and this is our Han Solo kind of guy where he is he's fighting and he's one of the punk soldiers and everything. He then he assimilates with the culture in the desert, and he kind of is someone who's sort of the bridge to both sides and ends up having I'm not gonna say anything, but has sort of this heroic journey throughout the rest of the film. And my God, and like just the whole time you're magnetized to him, like truly magnetized. Oh my God, it was unbelievable.
Anytime his character would joke around with Timothy Chalamet's character, I was like, they're friends.
He said he had muscles and he didn't have muscles. Like, dumbest writing of all time. Momoa sells it,
and it worked.
It worked so well.
I love the entire cast. I thought Stellan Skarsgård did a great job. At first, I completely forgot he was in there, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, that's Stellan Skarsgård." Oscar Isaac was incredible in this. I just absolutely loved him. That beard was solid, although it's not his real beard all the way through because he had to put a fake one on for reshoots. He said that on one of the talk shows the other night, and I saw a preview later on, like a commercial or something for Dune, and I was like, "Oh, it's clearly there."
I now have to talk to the creators of Scenes from a Marriage because that better be the real beard in that one. Because, like, for the love of God, that man better have something that resembles that epic of a beard.
And then Rebecca Ferguson. I mean, she was phenomenal as well. And of course, we're going to see more of her. Zendaya, of course. Grissom. Wait, did you see?
Wait, was she in it? Because I blinked.
Yeah, I know. Well, total setup for the next movie. But did you see that? I've also had dreams of Zendaya. You're not special.
That's actually pretty good. I want to talk about Isaac for a second, just because I really loved the dynamic between Isaac and Chalamet, where this is more in the writing, I think, but it's also sold in the performances where, Chalamet's like, I don't know if I want to be the ruler. I don't know if I want to rule. And Isaac's like, yeah, cool. Don't worry about it. Like, it was just kind of this, like, this sort, and they said it in much fancier, like, phrasing, but it was like sort of that conflict that we see in every damn movie about royalty is not shown here. And it's more of just like, he wants, like, instead of like, I don't want to push my kid into royalty. I don't want him to want royalty because that makes him a sociopath. So I just want, like, him to, like, it to be given to him at the time that he expects it. Like, it was a really, like, cool way to, like, get, because I always see that with leadership in different aspects, but it was fun to not have that kind of conflict involved.
Yeah, it's true. It's kind of something I think you build yourself up to expect, and when it's not there, it's kind of a refreshing direction for a film to take. We should mention that Part 2 has been greenlit as of yesterday, so that's big surprise there.
Have they ever made it more obvious that they were waiting on the success of Part 1?
I mean, also, like, they put Dune Part 1 in the title card. Yep. Of the movie. So when I saw that, I was like, we're definitely getting a sequel. Like, I bet they were like holding on to that Dune Part 1 piece until they got like early reactions. Then we're like,
allegedly it wasn't in TIFF. Like, TIFF just had Dune in there. So they put it in as Dune Part 1, I think, once the masses started to see it. And so that was when they sense. Yeah. I mean, I look at that. I had a few different crazy theories about how Dune Part 2 wasn't happening yet. But like my largest one here was, I was just sort of annoyed by it because it's like, if you're putting all the stock into Dune Part 1, if you're putting all this money, everything into it, then have everything lined up, because there's so many crew members involved in this that did kind of put their lives on hold. Granted, they all sort of had faith in a Dune Part 2 happening, but did sort of put their lives on hold for this. And, granted, like, the cast, like, this isn't really too much of a spoiler, but a lot of the cast ain't coming back. So, those people can be wrangled up. But it is tricky in that regard. I have my huge theory before they confirmed it was that they were not going to confirm Part 2 until after the Oscars, so that Denis Villeneuve would win an Oscar for Dune Part 1. And you know what?
You would take that approach.
I think it would have worked. I think it would have worked. It would have been.
I have two thoughts on that. One is that you're dealing with Warner Brothers here, so logic goes out the window right away. But number two is that I wonder with films like this where it's, like 75-25 that you're going to do a follow-up, maybe even more, 85-15 that you're going to do a follow-up or continue the story, if they have them locked down for a period of time where they say, like, we'll make a decision within X amount of days of the release once we get figures back. And if so, this is the time frame we're looking at filming. Do you know what I mean? Because you're right. Like, you got to lock down a lot of people. And just knowing certain movies I've seen recently, one of my reactions was, oh, this person isn't in the movie anymore. So that opens them up for future, like this series or that series. And I think it's that business behind it I'm really fascinated about. So I wonder if, or fascinated with, I should say. So I wonder if that was something they did, because of course, I mean, that movie leaves you wanting more. It ends really well. I think it was a very natural end. And I can't wait. And we're getting it in October of 2023, which is not that far away.
That's actually not bad at all. Yeah. So I think, they'll have like most of the stuff set up, and I think they probably had like all the outline storyboarded. There's probably so much they really did have prepared that they just they were just waiting for that one little go. And I mean, I don't know how movies are usually greenlit, but something like this, I assume.
I mean, if Warner Brothers and Legendary can do it with this, then Warner Brothers could do it with Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2. But we're going to move on now and take a break. And we're back. All right, let's dive into the news for this week. And we unfortunately have to start on sort of a solemn note. There was a really tragic story that came out of this past weekend. Basically, the long and the short of it is that on the set of the film Rust in New Mexico, Alec Baldwin was using a prop gun to shoot towards a camera, is what I've been able to understand from it. So sort of the cinematographer was filming. The cinematographer's name was Helena Hutchins, and she sadly passed away when a bullet exited the gun. The bullet went through Hutchins and hit the director of the film, Sousa, which is absolutely terrible. There's a lot of discourse that's happening around this whole incident right now. Of course, unfortunately, a promising cinematographer who was only 42 years old is dead. Alec Baldwin and now the assistant director and the armorer are the ones that are really being investigated. I think more so the latter two there. So an armorer on a set is responsible for any of the weaponry and is responsible with inspecting to make sure it's okay. Typically, my understanding is that the armorer is the one that would hand the weapon to the actor right before they're about to film. What happened here was the assistant director handed over the prop gun, yelled "cold gun," which would mean that it had blanks, or it didn't have live ammo in it, and unfortunately it did. So this is, I mean, it's crazy to think that these things happen. Of course, this brings back memories of the accident and tragic accident of the Crow back in, I think it was 1993, where something very similar happened and we lost a life. So it's a reminder that the people that are making these films are really in it, and there are accidents that happen, and hopefully, if anything good can come out of this, hopefully we can learn what can be done better in the future, and hopefully Helena's life won't be forgotten because of that. She was a very promising cinematographer. So Sean, what were your thoughts when you heard this story?
I mean, it was devastating when I heard it, and I had to hear it from just several different sources because sometimes the article titles were very misleading, because it was just like someone would say just like Alec Baldwin shoots someone on set, and I think that's kind of horrible. Like you need to include the accidental part of filming, part of shooting, that kind of stuff. It's like it needs to be a part of it. This entire thing is just this horrible tragic accident, and it's a situation that could have been preventable if IATSE workers were given more rights, because this was often some of the issues that we had. I've talked about this before. Some of them walked off the set before this situation happened, and that led to some problems. But even then, some of them that were there were exhausted, or worked 15-hour days every single day, and so you cannot do a good job, especially like when you're working with a gun. The other part of this I look at is Brendan Lee from The Crow in 1993, who was killed with live ammo, and it's just baffling to me that in this sort of situation they're still using some form of a live ammo. I know it's sort of like in this situation where it's blocked, and it is entirely safe if it is checked properly. it's there. But it's difficult to, I just think like having that anywhere near a set is a problem for me. The true issue I have with this is there are people at fault that it was an accident for those people and they feel horrible. Most likely what happens out of this, I don't think criminal charges happen out of this. I think there will be a suit. It'll be settled. That's exactly what happened with The Crow. But I do think, and Baldwin has felt horrible about this entire thing and has done everything he can. But Baldwin is the person who's almost least at fault. He, as an actor on set, when they're doing all of these things with VA, you are useless as an actor. Your job is to literally perform. People said he should have felt the gun was heavier. He should have checked it one more time. He should not have done any of that. If he did any of that, that's actually more unsafe. Like, as an actor, I don't care what you know about guns. You don't do anything. And you literally are just there to perform. And that is it. So, I mean, with all of that in mind, I don't know what's going to be happening in the next coming weeks with this, but it's going to be some more painful stories involved.
Yeah, it's really terrible. I think what I am expecting in terms of the legal side of things is there's going to be civil lawsuits up and down the block. I mean, I think all three of the individuals mentioned, including Alec Baldwin, are going to be liable civilly and will probably have to pay handsomely depending on what charges or what suits are filed and what's alleged. I think also the producers on the film, as well as the studio behind it, are probably going to have some liability there. But I don't believe that we are completely out of the woods when it comes to criminal culpability. I think that negligence is something that we deal with in the law, and there is involuntary manslaughter. I think in New Mexico, I think it's called fourth degree. It's a fourth degree felony. So you're looking at negligence and, did the person's actions or wanton actions cause the death? And there's going to be something. There's a case that I think can be made there, and it's going to depend on whether the DA wants to go that far and do that. There are questions around the AD and the armor. So once those questions get answered as to the chain of custody, who did what, who didn't do what, I think there's going to be potentially some challenging decisions to be made there on a legal front.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah. Not something we love to talk about, but I think it is important because we always talk about the positives and everything with film that we love, but we have to realize that these are people too, and that there are unfortunate accidents that happen. So there are lives that are involved, and when an accident happens that takes a life, we need to recognize that life. And from all accounts, she was really paving the way as a young cinematographer. So, and
part of it is a female crew member, which it's just something we don't get a lot. I mean, the people are using inclusion writers more often, and it's just so difficult to have people behind the camera also be females, and so it's just a shame when you lose someone so talented.
Yeah, absolutely is. All right, well, let's take a break and we'll come back and we will dive into the news. And we're back. All right, so let's get to some of the news we found out this week. First and foremost, this one kind of got me going, ooh. Hayden Christensen is reprising his role as Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader / the child killer in the Ahsoka series coming up. The connection there, of course, is that Ahsoka was Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, which is an apprentice, for those of you that don't know. I think this is cool. I'm like, bring them back. Let's do it. Everyone else is coming back.
I mean, I'm all for it, yeah, mainly because I'm all for whatever is going to be happening in the Ahsoka series, because the Ahsoka series is going to be dope. But I think my one issue here is...
Did you say it's going to be dope?
Yeah, Ahsoka's going to be dope.
Dope.
Yeah, I have definitely said dope before.
I don't think I've heard it.
I am certain I have said dope. But anyway, I think the Ahsoka series is going to be marvelous, and there it is. I feel weird about the timeline and Hayden Christensen being there, because if he's just as Darth Vader, I mean, we've still got James Earl Jones, and having the weird Hayden Christensen Darth Vader voice, I don't think it's like their kind of thing. But So if he's just Darth Vader, that seems strange. If it's flashbacks, that would be cool. I'll take
That's
that.
what I think it is.
That really needs to be it. Or he's just taking off the suit and he's just like all burned up and he's just like, hey, what's happening? Like that kind of deal. Because what was the other one where Hayden Christensen said he's going to be on the series? I believe it's Obi-Wan, correct?
Oh, is he?
I remember hearing that a while back. Who knows if that's been backtracked or not? But
Well, I think they take place around the same time, so that would make sense.
yeah, so he's jumping between one desert mountain and the other desert mountain. They're just all oh, this is a giant crossover.
We are really in the time of deserts right now, you know? Deserts are having a moment.
They're having a moment there. We didn't talk about sandworms during Doom. The sandworms were awesome. Okay, back to Hayden Christensen.
The sandworms were awesome, as were the behind the scenes looks at them running from the sandworms, and it's just a car with a camera.
I love that stuff.
But yeah, so Ahsoka is, of course, one of the projects is in the pipeline for Lucasfilm with Disney Plus. We are getting Boba Fett at the end of this year, right? And then Mandalorian is jumping into production now, or is in production now. Obi-Wan has wrapped, so that will probably be early next year at some point. Wow, we are eating good if you're a Star Wars fan.
That is pretty good because there hasn't been anything since Bad Batch, and that was animated. So some people don't even acknowledge that. But boy, yeah, because after that it was Mandalorian, and then Book of Boba Fett. Like it was like greenlit the day that Mandalorian ended.
Yeah. So hey, we are in the time of reboots, remakes, revisits, return casting.
Return casting.
So let's see what happens there. In other dope news, we got some news about the Barbie movie.
I don't like that that's going to be a thing now because I definitely have said dope before.
You have never said that in front of me before because I would have called it out.
That's true.
That's true. Ryan Gosling has been cast in the Barbie movie. He will be playing Ken. I kind of love this because it's Greta Gerwig doing this, so you know that it's not just a like hee hiya Barbie, hiya Ken movie. You're definitely getting like some deeper story here. Apparently the filmmakers had originally approached Ryan Gosling, but he had declined due to scheduling conflicts. But since the film has been in delay and production hell, they reapproached him and he signed
he wants
on.
to jump right in.
So it is Margot Robbie as Barbie, Ryan Gosling as Ken, Greta Gerwig directing from a script she wrote with Noah Baumbach.
Ryan Gosling, famously, this is not the first plastic girl that he's dated in a movie.
Oh my God.
It was Lars and the Real Girl, which is a beautiful movie. And everyone should see it. It is a wonderful movie. I was so surprised. But
do you think he's going to be going like this the whole time?
See, I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know if they're live action or they're toys. I will say that I thought Ken was supposed to be more of an airhead, and I feel like Ryan Gosling doesn't have enough of that.
Well, maybe he's misunderstood.
Well, Ryan Gosling has
maybe
too much thought in his eyes. Like
you try to put a toy in a packaging that does not represent who they truly are, and he's misunderstood. So he's going to show us through this film, through the voices of Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach.
This is like Shia LaBeouf's way of getting Ken. It's just weird.
Yeah, well, I'm interested in it. If they don't have Barbie Girl in the movie, it's going to be tragedy. I've said that
They're
before.
definitely not going to have Barbie Girl in the movie.
I know, and I hate it.
You need to prepare yourself now.
In other Ryan Gosling news, real quick, just throwing this in, his Wolfman movie has found the director. He is reteaming with Derek Cianfrance from Blue Valentine. And oh my gosh, what's the other one?
Blue Valentine? The guy
Yeah. Apparently this is a different take, and there's a director that dropped out. So Ryan Gosling approached Derek, and Derek, we're on first name basis. It's pretty dope. And we talked. Ryan talked about man, I'm like hitting all the first names.
Goes to the film festival. All of a sudden, he's a hotshot.
I wish. That's why I'm leaving early tonight to make sure I'm in line to get in. So Ryan Gosling, of course, is starring in this film, and apparently he went to talk to Derek Cianfrance to say, here's the idea for it. It's not a straight up remake. This is what we want to do with it, and he was interested enough to be on or jump on board. So hey, cool.
I would love to see like because the I've been going through all the original Universal monster movies, and the Wolfman does have this crime thriller element to it, and it has like this like way of like talking about macho mental illness type of like how to handle the toxic masculinity and mental illness sort of deal. I don't think they were going for that in 1934, but that's how I watched it, and so it's tricky, but I think it would be a cool. I want to see a modern day update that is not Benicio del Toro's.
Very important, not Benicio del Toro's. I know that you put a note in here. You wanted to touch on the fact that Britney Spears' fiance is going to be in a new movie with Mel Gibson.
Okay, so that is just like when you said that, I was just like, I too enjoy Mad Libs. That was not like
it was reported on Deadline.
Really?
Just so you know.
I think I'm done with Deadline now. You got to be kidding me.
Well, you know who I'm done with, and this is not true because I still enjoy your movies and want to keep seeing them. So please keep giving me screeners and screenings of them. But Warner Brothers canceled the Trench spinoff from Aquaman director James Wan. And in a recent post, he said that the Trench movie was actually secretly going to be a Black Manta solo film starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. I would love to see that because I, number one, love Yahya. And number two, I loved Black Manta in that. But I think coming out of the first Aquaman, what Yahya had said, or what he's been saying recently about the approach to the new Aquaman, is that they wanted to flesh out the character a little bit more and give him a little bit more to do. So I feel like we would have really been able to dive deep into sort of what he's been up to. And I wonder if they just sort of cut that short and threw it into Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which is coming on December 16th, 2022.
I think the good news about this, well, there's no good news because this does flat out suck to hear. Like, but the only like good news I could think to draw from this is that I think a lot of Manta's stuff is coming into into Aquaman 2. Like, and I think that story is being like, when the Trench got pulled or nixed or whatever we'd call it, I think Juan said, all right, so now I got to bring Manta 2 somehow into Aquaman, I have to bring Manta somehow into Aquaman 2. And I'm hoping that's the case. Yeah.
I think that's right. I think we probably were going to get some sort of impact from him no matter what in this movie, just the way they let off the last one or let the last one go with the after credit scene. But hey, I just wish that sucks. That really sucks.
It is. And also, like, how do you not make this? Like, you got Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who is in the lead role of everything now. Just announced he's in everything. He's on the marquee for everything. All right. He's doing a Chalamet. All right. And it's like iconic characters he's playing. He's got eyes everywhere. This is a no-brainer that you put this guy in. It's in his own movie on a property that people love. Like, come on, bring it all together. Let's go. Make some money, baby.
I wonder if it was a cost thing. Because if you're putting him in the lead, then that's, of course, going to change his contract and blah, 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 blah. But
that feels gross. But you're right.
I hate it. I hate it all. You know what doesn't feel gross is that we are seeing Brendan Fraser, the second coming of Brendan Fraser. He, of course, will be starring in Darren Aronofsky's The Whale and then Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. But what we have recently found out, as of a couple days ago, is he is going to be the villain in the upcoming HBO Max Batgirl movie starring In the Heights Leslie Grace. He will play the character of Firefly, who, if I remember correctly, Firefly is a special effects dude who falls on hard times and turns to crime, as we all do. It's going straight to HBO Max. Like I said, I kind of like this casting. I mean, he's no stranger to DC. He's still in Doom Patrol. So
is he really in Doom Patrol? I don't watch Doom Patrol. Yeah, I mean, I've meant to watch Doom Patrol, but I didn't know he was in that. What's fun?
Yeah, cool casting. I mean, it's just nice to see a guy like that get his due and continue to be given different roles. I mean, when you look at The Whale, you look at, I think it's a minor role in Killers of the Flower Moon, but then you look at this, you look at Doom Patrol, not Control, There's just a lot of great stuff that he's doing.
And he's already proven himself in No Sudden Move. I mean, I didn't love that movie because I still don't know what it's about. But like, I think that he was this kind of great role that was like in it for a little bit, and that was sort of him bringing himself onto the camera again. And he brought like this like different energy than you saw from the Fraser past.
Yeah, I think it is going to be really cool to see him in there. I want to hit on three quick stories real quick. One is that Zack Snyder has confirmed that the current title of the follow-up to Army of the Dead is Planet of the Dead. So do with that what you will. The next,
are they going to all be in the planet then? Like, is that what that's going to be now? Like,
will it ever rain?
Never.
The other quick news bit here is that there was an Untitled A Quiet Place spinoff movie that had been announced with Jeff Nichols from Mud attached to it, and he has departed. So who knows what's going on? But a lot of people have said, like, don't do a spinoff, just give us the third and then shut it down. But we also are getting a Quiet Place video game next year. So
I think we're getting spinoffs.
I am kind of into the video game, though. If there's a game called Dead by Daylight, and if they do it like that in a way, it could be a lot of fun.
I'm not even kidding you. I don't know how video games work at all, but if video games had little microphones that picked up sound and you had to stay quiet the entire time you're playing the video game while in that living room, I mean, come on. I think I'm selling $1 million ideas right here.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Okay, the other thing that we are...
I don't appreciate that shutdown. I thought it was pretty dope.
I'm not going to lie. I was reading the article that I'm about to mention, and I didn't even hear what you said. Something about a video game? Or
I'm saying that I don't know how video games work at all. So what I'm thinking is that this is so mean. I'm thinking that you have little microphones in the controllers, and if they like say something in the Quiet Place, you almost choke on your salad now. That's what I'm talking about. You get me?
I'm on board with that. I like that. Last thing to touch on is Bill Murray apparently is going to be in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
It's pronounced Bill Maher.
What?
Oh, Bill Murray. I thought you said Bill Murray, and I was like, oh.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. Bill Murray. What is it? Is that a Philadelphia thing?
Murray?
Murray.
Murray. How do you say that?
Murray.
I
think we're good. Yeah, we're the same.
You said Maury.
I didn't say Maury.
Maury Povich has been cast in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. He will be playing
that would actually be just as legitimate.
So
to react to the Bill Murray news.
Wait, I didn't even give the full news yet.
Oh, I thought you said he's quest in Quantumania.
Yeah, but I got to tell you how this came out.
Oh, let's go.
He was speaking about it. He said, I recently made a Marvel movie. I probably can't tell you about it, but it doesn't matter. In any case, some people were quite surprised by why I decided on such a project of all things. But for me, it was very clear. I got to know the director, and I really liked him a lot. He was funny, humble, everything you want from a director. And with the cheerleading story, Bring It On, Girls United film, he made a film years ago, and I think is damn good. So I accepted, even though I'm not otherwise interested in these huge comic book adaptations. So, of course, the director he's referencing is Peyton Reed, and that was Peyton Reed's movie, The Girls United. Bring It On, Girls United.
That's so brilliant. That's actually truly brilliant that he decided to go with. That's why we love Murray. That's like kind of like the classic Murrayism. That's like the taking the fry off the tray. No one's ever going to believe you. Like, kind of, oh man, the absolute best stuff.
It was very entertaining. So your thoughts on that?
I mean, it does surprise me that he hasn't been in a Marvel movie yet. Like, how has he not been snatched up? Like, all of it, like when I found out about this news, I just said to myself, I was like, oh my God. Yeah, no, he hasn't been in a Marvel movie yet. And this one seems like, the perfect kind of one. And it seems like he's kind of the actor that doesn't really dig them. So, cool, right on, whatever. But like it's great news. It's fun news. I don't know how much of it he's in, but still great no matter what.
Do you know who I was thinking recently? It's kind of crazy they haven't been in a Marvel movie is Molly Parker. She was in Jockey. That's the most recent for her in my eyes. But she's also in the Lost in Space series. She was in House of Cards.
Yeah, Jackie Sharp.
Yep. She was in Pieces of a Woman. She was in Words on a Bathroom Wall. She just seems like she would be a pretty solid addition, especially given her role in Lost in Space. I think she's really good in that. So if they were going to do like I don't want to say older because she's not necessarily older, but like Sue Storm, I could see her as that type of role.
Oh, that would be a good, Sue Storm would be good with her. Yeah. It would be weird if it's like all celebrities, but then Molly Parker and everyone's like, what? But
that's what I would. Well, but Marvel doesn't always like to go big celebrities, so
true.
It would be nice to see them go that route. That was what I was thinking about watching her in Jockey yesterday. What Marvel movie would she be good?
Oh no, you weren't thinking about the plot in Jockey?
They weren't either, but okay. All right, so that's the news for the week, and we are going to dive right into our rants and raves. How do you feel about that, Shawnee boy?
Sounds good. I won't rant or rave about that decision.
I've just made the decision to cancel this podcast. No,
sounds good.
I'm going to dive into my rants first, and this is something that's been frustrating me. And it's been boiling up for a while, but and I've said it, I think it's in some, whether it's on here or in conversation with people or on other broadcasts or streams, but this idea of groupthink and how, when we as a cinephile community, we all follow different people. We follow people that are reviewing the same movies that we are in many cases, especially when it comes to the new releases and the big ones that are coming out. So it's really weird when we go against the grain, or when a critic goes against the grain, and it is challenging as said critic who recently did that, because the messages you get, and I know you've gotten these before too, when you've kind of gone against the grain with something, but it's all like, well, so-and-so didn't say this, and wow, that's really crazy, and how could you think that, with blah, 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 from people that haven't even seen the damn movie. And that's what's really frustrating to me. And I will mention it real quick. I'm not going to talk about it in any detail, what movie it is, but about the movie itself, but it's Eternals. I happen to really, really enjoy it. It's not getting the best reviews from a lot of people, especially, a lot of my friends that have seen it are kind of feeling on par with, I think, what a lot of national critics are. But that should be okay. And that needs to be okay. Because how many times have you gone to see a movie that other people love that you didn't like, or vice versa? That's why we are all doing what we're doing, to be individuals on this. So just because a critic goes against the grain and, likes something that others don't, or doesn't like something when others do, that's not a reason to get shitty with them or to cancel them or whatever you may want to call it. But that is just another reason why it's great to have such a diverse group of opinions in the cinephile community. So just keep that in mind when you're reading reviews that you may not care for, whether that's, the positive or negative reviews.
Just to put it at a personal level here, when Joe has a review that is very different from mine, I'm excited. I'm not like nervous about it. I'm not pissed off at Joe or anything like that. I get excited because I'm like, oh, cool. Like both of us got 5 out of 5s for Dune. Really awesome. Yeah. We're going to just jerk off Dune for 20 minutes here, which Dune earned that right. But I don't know how I'm going to feel about Eternals. I may love it. I may not like it. I don't know. But I know that I'm almost more excited not to like it. I'm not going to do that to him for that purpose, but I'm almost more excited not to like it because then we get to have this cool discussion back and forth, as opposed to if I like it, which if I like it, that's cool as well. But we'll just both be like, oh, Eternals, come back next week when we do the same thing. But and it's not just disagreeing for content. I mean, but I really I love when my brother-in-law says I hated this movie, and my response, when I loved the movie and he says I hated the movie, my response is always, oh, fuck yeah. It's almost a reflex that I say that, and I say it in front of the niece, which is not good, but I'll just be like, and then we'll talk about it for a little bit. Neither of us will convince the other. We're both going to go back into our hidey holes. Absolutely. Okay. But we just have some fun for a bit. That's the thing. Come on.
Sean, I've already written your review in my head, minus the eloquence and the depth that you bring to your reviews. But I know where you're going with.
I hate when you do that. I hate when you do that because you're actually right. Sometimes I really hate when you do that.
I will not say it before you see the movie, before you post your review, but I know I could hear certain things. I was like wrestling I was already having this debate with you in my head while I was putting my review together.
I hate this. I hate that.
I was so, you have no idea how stressed I was. And we've talked about this in the past, that like when you're writing reviews, and like I was aware of what some other people were thinking just based on conversation, because it's tough to, I don't want to ignore people when I get messages. And I feel like I do that to you all the time. I'm like, oh, Sean, like, you just saw blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, wait, let's not dive too deep. Sean didn't see it, and I don't want to take it away.
If you don't see it, I often don't talk to you.
it's hard, and I'm terrible at that because I do. But it's a matter of I was very stressed, and like I realized that I was trying to conform without the intent to do so, what I was thinking to what I saw other people rating it. And I was like, you know what? No. And I knew right off the bat I was going to get a bunch of shit from those people that didn't care for Eternals, or, gave it a 3 or whatever it may be. I knew that I was going to get a bunch of shit for it. And I ultimately was like, but I enjoyed this movie. I run Guy at the Movies. This is my viewpoint and my opinion, and I'm going with it. And I'm very glad that I did, because I stand by it, as I do with most of my reviews, 99% of my reviews. And if I don't,
I remember you walking back a little.
Yeah, and if I don't,
maybe I should have.
Tell you. If I don't, I tell you. There's already been like 2 this year that I thought of. But yeah. So it's interesting, because I think especially when you get some of these big ones, Marvel, Star Wars, and some of the other fandoms are the biggest ones. I've seen it with Dune too.
Yeah. Some
people that like didn't care for Dune as much are getting like shit roasted online. And it's everyone's allowed to have their opinion.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I'm going to do my rant very quickly. It won't be as long, but I think not rant. I'm doing a rave. But my rave, very quickly. It won't be as long, but only because like I think I always like end up just like making my raves about TV shows that I like, which I feel bad about, but. I forget, like, I've watched a lot of TV, especially with the pandemic. I watched a ton of TV, but with the pandemic, I watched a lot. And in the past 2 years, I've watched this TV show, that TV show, limited series, like different seasons of series. And I'm just like, wow, there's some exceptional TV. And then Succession comes out again. Season 3 of Succession. And my goodness, let the waters flow, as we just realized that this show rules all of television. I'm telling you, this is like, and I'm not doing any hot takes here. These aren't hot takes. These are whatever, like a lot of people think. I mean, on its Sunday night, it was the 48th most watched show on cable. So we know that it's definitely doing well. I don't think people watch it at the right time. But so I don't know. The coasts are watching it. They love it. But Succession is like truly like this like marvelous show. It's just so simple in what it does, and the back and forth between this family that is like just like wholly corrupted and wholly corruptible, and how they like butt heads and are stabbing each other in the back. Just amazing performances from Jeremy Strong, Sarah Snook, Kieran Culkin, and then at the head of the table, Brian Cox, and also Alan Ruck in there. It's truly something where then the secondary characters are just as great, where they are silly. There's this dark comedy behind it of how can people treat each other like this, and yet they still are always with each other. It is a very much, and I compared something else to, or I did something else with Veep, but it is very much the dramatic version of Veep, where it's just like all of them are horrible to each other. They're all sticking by each other. They all stab each other in the back in all these different ways. And it's Succession is like one of those that, it has climbed the ladder every single season to just be better and better. And there's two episodes out in the 3rd season. And it's like finally like Sunday night HBO is back, and it's just great to watch it. And that's my amazing rave of Succession.
And it's already renewed for season 4.
It was so funny when I saw that news, because it was like that and like Dune Part 2, and both of them were sort of these like, well, of course, but also thank God. Like,
Warner Brothers was having a day.
Yeah, they were enjoying themselves.
I always get Succession confused with Billions with Damian Lewis. I don't know.
Billions
why.
is lovely. No, they do have a similarity in a way, because it's just like rich people, weird lives, and they have that sort of like part to them. But Yeah, there's definitely something more special about Succession. I'm trying to think of what it is. It feels tighter in general. Like Billions kind of goes off into a million directions, which is cool and can be fun. But yeah,
It's on my list after Ted Lasso.
there we go. Perfect list.
Well, we have quite the list of movies that are coming out this week, Sean.
Holy crap.
It's a dope list, if you will. I'm gonna get like roasted for that.
So I didn't hear that because I was looking at my stuff.
I'm a very simple individual. I don't really have the ability to multitask anymore. So Antlers is hitting theaters this weekend. That is what I am jumping in the car to go see shortly as part of the Philadelphia Film Festival. Last Night in Soho hits theaters. The French Dispatch, Army of Thieves. French Dispatch is out already, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's the theater near me, so I put it on there.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, wait, huh? Army of Thieves, which I watched earlier. It's fun. It's fun.
Okay, I'll probably be putting that on this weekend.
Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin, which I'm really excited for, but I'm worried about. A Mouthful of Air hits the. I should say that the Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin movie hits Paramount Plus. A Mouthful of Air hits theaters, and A Violet hits limited theaters.
Cool.
So there's that, Sean.
Sounds
What
good.
is first on your list to see this weekend?
Ooh, so I was gonna see Passing in theaters, but it's showing up to Netflix, and I'm trying to save money, so I'm just gonna kick that on at Netflix. So I think tomorrow I'm gonna see the French Dispatch, and then Friday will probably be Last Night in Soho, maybe sometime in the weekend. But those are my two.
Have you scheduled your horror trip yet with your buddy John?
No, I should invite him. Yes, because I'll need him. Is it horror? You know it.
Last Night in Soho, yeah, you might get a little.
I saw the trailer that literally gives away the entire film, like the second trailer that, I saw it and I'm like, you guys are literally giving a summary of the film here.
Antlers is the one I was thinking about more though, because it's a little,
I don't even know if I want to see that at all, which sounds weird because I want to see everything, but I'm so uninterested.
There was a critic at the festival last night when I was waiting for Jockey, maybe it was, who was like, "You need to see Antlers," and was really raving about it. So I'm excited. I've been looking forward to it. Kerry Russell in it, and it just seems like an interesting story. So
Scott Cooper has done some very scary movies like Crazy Heart and Blackwater. So probably like, what is he doing directing this movie?
Listen, life is scary,
I guess Crazy Heart. Crazy Heart, the scariest thing was alcoholism, but
I gotta share this. I haven't written the review yet, but I saw The Humans last night, which is adapted from a screenplay, the stage play that won the Tony Award. And it's very much up my alley when it comes to like family drama and just like, it's not for everyone, put it that way. I loved it. But there's a funny part where the mother says something. So Stephen Yen is in it. And he has a funny like tongue-in-cheek moment where he's talking about a show with zombies or something. And the mom's like, why do I have to watch a show with zombies? Humans are horrible enough to each other. And I was like, oh my God, I love this woman.
That's actually a pretty on-point thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But Amy Schumer's incredible in that. So, but anyway.
Jenkins is getting Oscar buzz for it, but
he's I can't go. You need to see it.
Yeah.
It's divisive.
Ooh.
In that it's not divisive in that it's a play that was adapted to a movie.
That always gets tricky for me. Yeah.
And it's not like a ton happens, but I was just like engrossed. Yeah. They make another really funny joke because I have to mention this, of course, being outside of Philly. They make a joke like they're in New York for this, and Jenkins' character is really like nervous about New York and his daughter living there. And Amy Schumer's character, the other daughter, lives in the Sierra Center in Philadelphia, which is right on 30th Street, which I thought was pretty funny. But they say something about Philadelphia, and she's like, Beanie Feldstein's character is like, yeah, Philadelphia is horrible. Terrorists don't even want to go to Philadelphia. And I was like, oh my God. And of course, I'm seeing this in Philadelphia, and everyone just like burst out laughing.
They're like, yep.
So it was really cool. But Sean, we'll talk soon. Everyone else, see you next week.
See ya.
See you next week. I missed the
See ya.
See you next week.
See ya.
As always, thanks for listening. You can follow both Joe and Sean on Instagram at Guy at the Movies and Math Teacher Movies. New episodes of the Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean are available every Wednesday morning, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, be on the lookout for special spoiler pods, where we dive deep into the latest film releases. If you like what you hear, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.